We got voicemails, Ian.
We do, although we're probably going to have to do
10 minutes of
just a couple of them this week because we ran long.
I
will. Hold on though. Update.
We got an update. What?
Update.
The A-Team van is on its way to me right now.
Thank you, Ian.
You're welcome.
I was very.
Yeah.
I was very worried. Go to anchor.m/CU podcast.
He accepted the offer.
Leave us a short voicemail. We'll do like 10 minutes here.
Hey, this is Nick from Tokyo. I had a question for the both of you. 1996 had a lot of great movies, Independence Day, Space Jam, 12 Monkeys, to name a few. But one of my favorites from that year was Broken Arrow with Christian Slater and John Travolta.
Okay.
Could you share your thoughts on that movie? And if you haven't seen it or haven't seen it recently enough, I'd also like to request, if you have the time, to give it a watch. And then maybe you can get back to me next week. But yeah. Thanks.
I've seen most of Broken Arrow. I will pass on a second viewing of that. It's a goofy, one of the goofy mid to late 90s action movies. Like, I know I love Con Air. It's like a dumb classic. Or The Rock. The Rock is actually pretty good. Yeah, I don't have any thoughts on it. Whenever we think of what the hell, Howie Long, he had a few movies in the mid 90s. They try to transfer him from ex-Raiders football player to action star. The problem is he doesn't know how to act. And Frank always brings up a review of one of the movies from his Leonard Maltin's film guide that says, Howie Long looks like Ed Harris if Ed Harris only had one facial expression. It's like really funny.
I never saw Broken Arrow, so I'll just pick a different movie from 1996 that I like. Twister. Watch Twister.
Independence Day was also 96, I believe, wasn't it? That was a big year for like the weird, dumb.
I'll take my man, Bill Paxton.
CG got just good enough where we can trick you into doing these blockbusters in the mid 90s. We got you there. You'll take your Paxton.
Hey guys, since you don't talk about sports games very much on the CU podcast, I was just curious what your favorite retro sports games are. My top three are Tecmo Super Bowl, Baseball Stars, and the most underrated sports game of all time, Dusty Diamonds All-Star Softball.
It's up there for me.
And curious to see what you think. Thanks, bye.
That's three good ones right there.
Tecmo Super Bowl is definitely one of mine. This is something that pisses people off. I love Baseball Stars. I do. I really, really, really like Famista and RBI Stadium.
Yeah, you're allowed to like it.
I like it better.
You're allowed to like an inferior game. You're allowed to like that.
I like it better. It's crispy.
It's a fun game. It's a good experience, the gameplay.
So those would probably be two of my bigger retro ones. I also used to like a lot of the really shitty like Olympic style games. Like
Track and Field 2 is to me a close masterpiece. Track and Field 2 is amazing.
Yeah, Track and Field 2 is a lot of fun.
4.5 stars. Like the Track and Field 2 is the fact that they did all those different gameplay elements and the graphics are insanely good in that game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. Obviously NBA Jam, obviously the NHL games, the Madden games are fun in the early mid 90s. Like there's so many that are great. Next one here.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Ian. This is Will out of Chattanooga. The other day, I went to a local barcade called Level Up. It's not very good. Don't recommend it if you're ever in the area.
Whoa.
But anyway, I encountered something I'd never seen before, which was emulated retro arcade cabinets like Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, etc., that you would actually put real money into, put quarters into. But the emulation wasn't great. It was actually pretty rough. I played versus Super Mario Brothers, and there was a very noticeable delay in button inputs. And like, I understand wanting to own something like an arcade one-up machine for your home, but if I'm at like a barcade paying actual money, I'd rather be playing on the real thing rather than an emulator.
Yeah,
honestly, I think some of those one-up machines are probably closer than some of those awful multi-boards. I hate the multi-boards.
Well, he's talking about an emulator, like a computer inside.
Well, he said emulator machine. So I mean, I thought he was talking about like a multi-board.
I thought he was talking about like MAME. That's what it sounded like to me versus a multi-board.
To me, it sounded like he was talking about a multi-board because it had Mario Verse and stuff on it.
Okay.
But either way, no, it's a horrible way to play games, and I don't recommend it. And I wouldn't put money into it.
Well, if you want the full arcade experience. You know.
I understand why people have them. Like,
sure.
Dino Club has some of them, but I just
I think
hate them.
I think he means like an emulator, like a straight up emulator, because I've seen those. You can rig those like MAME.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Put a quarter in. Versus like a multi-board, because I've played multi-boards that ones that seemed okay. I mean, I didn't play through all, but they have them at certain spots. All right, next.
Hey, Pat and Ian, I'm a big fan of the show. Just curious, since you guys are San Diego residents, I'm a former resident myself. What's the highlight? What's the biggest highlight of living in the area of San Diego that you feel for both of you?
It's easy.
And also the biggest thing that you hate about the area? Just kind of curious.
Also,
if you can tell me what's going on with that vinyl Link costume behind you. What's the story behind it?
I got it from OK Chief at a convention. It's a Ben Cooper unused gruesome Link costume that I've never seen before. So I got it. Gave me a good deal on it. Best thing is the San Diego Zoo.
Yeah, the best thing is the San Diego Zoo. It's the jewel of the city. There's nothing better. It is what I am the most proud of in San Diego. It is the first thing I want to show anyone when they come to San Diego.
Literally one of the best zoos in the world.
It is without a doubt my favorite thing about San Diego. My least favorite thing about San Diego.
And all Balboa too, though.
Yeah, all of Balboa. My least favorite thing about San Diego is the sun. I mean, it's true. I fucking hate the sun.
Right, well, it's worse in other areas than here, but all right. I don't think I dislike anything that much about San Diego so far.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Ian. My question for you guys this week is, if you guys started from scratch, would you guys get import games instead of getting the American prints?
Well, it depends. Do I have the cash I have now versus, when I started collecting when I was like 17, 18? That's a different question. Because back then, I mean, the only reason I was probably collecting a lot of stuff because it was so cheap. Like your dollar games left willy-nilly. It's not like now where it's a game that was $1 23 years ago is now 50 or 60. Like that's a different sort of question. I think what I would say is this: is that I wouldn't be a strategy of buy everything you see, because that became the strategy, especially with the swap meets and stuff. You can't do that in today's world. You can't just buy everything you see. You just can't do that.
Right. I think buying imports, especially for retro games right now, is probably the best thing you could do if you want to own physical versions of the game and you don't care about them being US. Almost all of them are playable without knowledge of Japanese, and the few that you do need to know language for, by the US counterpart. And if it was only released in Japan, sorry, you're shit out of luck. Go play it on an emulator with a translation patch. But obviously, the further you get in games, imports no longer make sense. I mean, as if you have to rely heavily on the language. So by the time you get to Super Nintendo RPGs and PlayStation games, that's not really an option anymore unless you're multilingual.
Sure.
Hey folks, this is Ethan calling in from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we all know of plenty of games that were tragically never released in the United States, despite being completed and even released in other regions like Japan and Europe. If both of you could alter history to have allowed a single one of these games to be released in the United States, what would it be? I think my pick would have to be Gimmick for the NES, but there are so many to choose from. I'd love to hear your folks' thoughts. Thank you kindly, gentlemen.
I mean, it's kind of moot issue now, but there's a few games that I would have loved to have seen come over here. I don't know how far along they would have been, though. Bahamut Lagoon for the Super Nintendo is a great strategy RPG. Has 2 translations now. You can play it very easily, but I think it would have been, it really took advantage of the system. There's some great cutscenes and stuff in there. I would have loved to have seen Driving. That's funny. They both have Lagoon in the name. Driving Lagoon was the racing RPG, also by Square, that came out on the PlayStation. Never got a release here. I hoped and hoped and hoped for it to get a release here because it seemed like at the time Square got so popular because of Final Fantasy VII. I thought they would just release everything, but they didn't. That did recently get a translation, a fan translation. And then lastly, I don't know if this was ever in the works to come over here. Wow, all 3 of them are fucking Square games too. I really, really want to play the cell phone game that was based on the Turks, who are 3 characters from Final Fantasy VII.
I'm not familiar with that. Obviously Gimmick. It's weird. Gimmick's a weird case because it came out in Scandinavia on the NES, but not here.
Yeah.
And they did the US prototype, retro USB. I have the retro USB prototype reproduction. So it's a weird one. I think what Nintendo America might have said was, well, we're trying to transition over to the Super Nintendo, and this is awesome. And they had Kirby. Kirby kind of is competition. Your Gimmick's kind of competition to Kirby in a way. So like, I can see a reason why it didn't come out here, but it's a shame because it would have done.
You also got to
well.
wonder if there was a bit of like, this looks too good, and we're trying to convince people they need to buy a new system.
But they did Kirby though.
True.
So,
and Kirby, I mean,
Kirby
before,
that was 92, right? Was that 92 Kirby's Adventure?
Look.
Because once you get to 93, they want to move on. By 93, they want to move the hell on. You have the title release and some of that. No, it was 93. So like, I think they didn't want competition. This is going to be our last big. They probably said this is our last big release.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a Nintendo title. Well, it's a HAL title.
No one cares about Wario's Woods. Sure. But like, this is our last big Nintendo published title. That's probably what it was. And Gimmick gets the shaft. All right, do a few more here.
Hey Pat. Hey Ian. This is Max calling from Edison, New Jersey.
Hold on.
Ian, I have family in upstate New York. but I know that Pat has felt the eternal pain of living in the armpit of the country.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You're from Jersey and you called it the armpit of the country? So why don't you relax there a bit, huh?
Take it easy.
Take it easy there, huh?
So my question to you guys is, what are the actual worst states? Thanks so much.
I don't want to call out worst states. I mean, come on.
I don't want to call out worst states.
We love people from all over. There's good people.
I mean, I can say, and because I have friends there, and they also agree. Florida seems to be a bit of a hellhole right now.
If you want to say armpit, I mean, like Florida's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Texas has got some problems going on right now too.
You're talking political stuff. But
yeah.
Like every.
But in terms of like, I don't know, you live where you got to live.
Yeah, there's nice critters and food everywhere, right? All right. You want to check in with someone?
I do want to check in.
It's that late for you? Okay.
This is Tony. Tommy can't call nobody for a while. He got in an accident with that holo ride thing. Fucking guy. But I was just drinking with his friend, the Chinese guy, Japanese, whatever. I'm so drunk, he might have been Jewish, I don't know. But I tell him, my nephew got a birthday coming up. And he said, oh yeah, and he give me the thing, the switch. He had one in his pocket. He said, yeah, I don't need it. I got so many. I use it at my house to put drinks on it. So I start playing with the thing. When I get home, I said, wow, this is a lot better than that amico piece of shit. Quello deve sparire. Fuck out of here. I was playing Zelda, and then I played the Bubble. I played that for a while, and
Oh, Tony, thanks for checking in. You got to sleep it off, buddy.
You got to sleep it off.
You got to sleep it off. You doing some shots with Miyamoto-san there?
With Miyamoto-san.
Well, give an update in the future if Tom recovers there from the horrible hollow ride accident there. Well, that was funny.
Famous Jewish celebrity.
There you go. I can't believe that's
Shigeru Miyamoto.
Max, don't even jokingly call New Jersey an armpit. That's very insulting. Very insulting.